Hello everyone, and so this is my Imbolc plans for 2022. So I figured I would just share a little bit of what I'm planning this year to focus on and do. If you want to know kind of what to do for Imbolc, I did talk about that last year, so you can check out that video. So I won't necessarily be talking about every little thing that you could generally be doing. This is just what I'm planning. So this Imbolc, this year in general, it has been the year that I am starting to really try and get in tune with like what's working and what's not, and why am I not doing the things that I want to be doing with my life, and starting to create systems to make that happen. For example, in the evenings, I tend to think I'm going to be way more productive than I am in the mornings. And in the mornings, I'm going to choose sleep over productivity, and then I'll come home, be like, I'll do it when I get home. And then I come home, and then I'm tired because I work all the time. So because of that, I tell myself I'm gonna do these things in the morning, and then I don't because I'm exhausted. And then I come home from work and I'm like, I'm exhausted, I don't wanna do these things, and then they never get done. And so there's a few things that I've learned that I need to try and adjust in that scheduling process. And so Imbolc is my time that I'm going to be implementing new systems. And, you know, I might start it a little bit in advance, but that's really when I'm going to hunker down and be like, yeah, okay, this is how the new system needs to go, reevaluating a lot of those things. And of course, you don't just have to do this in Ritual. Like for myself, I'm spending like the week or so before Imbolc actually kicks in to really contemplate how is that going to work out. So for example, like I'm trying to get more healthy, I want to lose weight, and just overall take care of my body a little bit better. And so one of those ways is that I would love to exercise on a regular basis, ideally every day, but going back to my routines, I tell myself I'm going to do it in the morning, and then I don't want to. And then I'll do it when I get home, and then I don't want to. But throughout the day, I could be doing a little bit, not necessarily like a full workout, because obviously I'm at my job, but starting to change the narrative in my brain that it doesn't count when, you know, you do like 25 squats every time you go to the bathroom, or on your lunch break, take a quick walk or whatever. Doing little things throughout your day that you can fit in, that can count for your exercise, and then do an actual workout. If you feel up to it, cool. If not, just save those for your days off. So for me, I'm planning 4 official days of the week that I will do an exercise. Like the day that we do admin in the morning where I don't have to be there on time, that morning, instead of just like, oh, I'm gonna sleep in a little more, be like, okay, we're gonna get up at the same time, but this day we're gonna take 20 minutes to exercise. Like, I think the exercise that I've been doing is about like 20 or 30 minutes, and so I can take that little bit of time in the morning to do that. It'll be fine. So that's one. And then on my days off, to do an actual workout of some kind. Again, it'll probably be the same one. I love the Fonda like one she did in like, I don't know, 2013, 2014-ish, because she's 70, and mostly it's aimed at older people, like 60 and above, but when you are plus-sized and overweight, yeah, those exercises are a lot easier because it's assumed that your joints don't work very well, and your joints may or may not have issues being overweight. But also mobility is just a little bit more difficult when you have more mass to work around. And getting up and off the floor constantly is not exactly comfortable when you're big. And so I love this one particular exercise. She goes just doing different exercises standing, and she does have other ones that you do get on the floor and stuff, but she goes a lot slower than like people who are actually in shape showing you how to exercise. So anyways, planning on doing one of those. I love her. I think it's called like Walkout Level 1 and Level 2. Love that one. So doing those on my days off or my admin morning. That way I have time to do them. The rest of the time I'm going to be working on just some form of exercise. I found a yoga one that I'll be doing in the mornings on the other days. And it is a little bit long. It's about 13 minutes, but that I'm also going to be counting into my like morning routines. Thor is a really good god to dedicate like exercises to, so I'm like, does yoga count? Because I feel like yoga kind of counts in this category. So I'm doing that as part of a witchy morning routine. Another thing that I'm going to be working on is writing. So as we know, I don't necessarily hate my job, but I have many issues with it. And so one of the things that I want to work on is getting to a point where I don't need this job anymore and I can be self-employed. And one of the ways I want to do that is obviously through my videos and Patreon and different things like that, but also through writing. And the only way that's going to happen is if I actually do it. And I've tried to implement writing in the mornings, but again, I think I'm more productive than I actually will be morning and evening every time. So again, putting more things on my days off, which includes writing. Now specifically, I have one book that I've been working on since 2014. One day it'll get done. But in the meanwhile, I've realized I will never ever write a series again. And so I do want to get back into writing. And during the season of Imbolc, I want to publish a book because, again, I've come to accept on a logical way that my writing doesn't have to be perfect, and there are plenty of just casual reads where you're not anticipating hitting New York Times bestseller. It's just a book you pick up and read just because you want to read a book and you want to hear a story, and that's fine. And those books are okay and those are fun. Like, for example, reading through the Nancy Drew series, like, it's definitely not like the world's greatest books ever written, but they're cozy. You know what's gonna happen. There's no surprise twist. Like, they're just, you just read to read the book. And it's an easy read. It makes you feel accomplished because you can get through a book really quickly. It doesn't take a lot of brain power. And I love those. And so I want to write books kind of like that, where it's not trying to tell like this massive theme of humanity and all of this stuff. It's just a story. And so I want to write those kinds of books just for funsies. And so I have one that I've been working on, and I've realized that like I get into a writing routine of like I have a specific story I want to write and just different ways of telling the same story, and at this point I'm like, you know what, that's fine, whatever. Like, for the longest time I've wanted to write, like when I was a teenager, it was about this girl like conquering the world and like gaining her confidence and all of these things and whatever. Obviously not at all related to me being the outcast and being socially awkward and feeling like you have no control, so why not write a character that has all the control? And now my like themes are like way more like real world, where it's like the character hates her job, she wants to leave her job. Let's find a way to not have that happen, where she can just up and leave her really crap job and do something she loves. And so I want to write that book, and I have a number of variations that I want to do for that are 100% definitely not at all based off of my own life at all. Not even a little bit. Definitely not. But it's fine. Whatever. Because truly, I would love to see books written from people who, you know, worked as like a pharmacy tech or whatever, that then go off to become a librarian, because that's what they're way more interested in. It's interesting, like, to see just like the ins and outs of an industry that like you definitely would never want to work, but just to see how it works, you know? It's kind of interesting. I've learned from TikTok that I'm way more of a people watcher than I used to be. So I have a book that I'm working on, and timidly it's called The Grave Shift, and I'm really psyched about writing it. And again, it's just a casual read, and so I want to just get that done and published. That way it's out of my hands, it's into the world, and then I can move on to the next story and the next one and the next one. And throughout time, eventually I will pick up the other series that I'm working on, but for right now I want to get books written so again I can be free from having to have a boss. It would be so nice. So I'm working towards that, and of course I'll be doing spell work and things accompanying that. I found a few that I think will help, that I'll be doing on Imbolc because it is a good time to do that kind of a thing. The final thing that I'll be working on is reclaiming my house and my space. As per usual, I always mention this time of the year is great for cleaning, like your spring cleaning, because typically it's starting to get warm enough that you can open your windows a little bit, but you're not necessarily ready to go work on your yard because it's still gonna snow, because here in Utah, it can snow for a while. It's gonna get too cold for a lot of things to grow. So it's a good time to work on your house. So I'm planning on rearranging my room a little bit and cleaning under furniture and stuff and just decluttering a little bit more. I've been doing pretty well on that. I did start that some point in the fall, and it's been going well. I'm making progress, it's just slow progress. But when you and your partner are both not just like the most normal of people. Like he's got ADHD, I definitely have a lot of anxiety, and hoarding is just one way that I'm like, I'm gonna deal with it this way. So it takes some time to organize things and clean and whatever. And so we're getting there. And I've come to accept that it is an ongoing process, but we're getting there. So that is just some of the things that I'm planning on working on. And of course, I'll be honoring the goddess Bridget. It's mainly her holiday. And so I've decided, why not just work with her? She's a goddess of many things, so why not tap into that energy for the next few weeks and just work with her? And I'll still work with my other deities on like a daily basis, but just kind of implementing her a little bit more. Anyways, that's kind of the main things that I want to be working on for Imbolc this year. I hope this has been helpful for you guys and gives you some ideas. And until next time, thank you so much for watching, and I will see you all soon.